Awesome. We have a special guest here today. I mean,
For real.
like real special.
Special in the head.
We have John Hughes from University Beach, all the way from Texas.
Texas.
Like,
Yeah.
what part of Texas?
Beaumont area.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'm
Beaumont
familiar
area.
with that.
You know a little bit about that, right?
Yeah,
That's right.
I actually grew up with this guy. 80s,
Nice.
what I remember of the 80s, and we had a good time.
We did. We did have a good time, and we saw a few bands, and
Yeah, we did.
yeah, we did. Went to a few parties.
And still,
Just a few.
you're gonna go see Ministry with me, right?
I am. That's coming up.
That'd be a good show.
At Avondale. Yeah,
Especially at Avondale. You ever been there before?
I have.
Awesome.
Yeah.
It's an awesome venue.
I'm gonna go ahead and pour some. Is this bourbon? Texas straight bourbon whiskey.
Single barrel. 94 proof.
And since you're from Texas, I figured we'd do some Texas whiskey.
There you go. I like it.
So, tell us a little bit about University Beach. There's a lot of talk around town
Yeah, there
about
is.
this project.
Well, I guess let me start by saying this. I mean, this has been a project that's been a year or so in the making, obviously, but it's going to be something special. There's really not anything quite like it out there in the United States that I'm aware of. There's other places that maybe have components of it. But basically, University Beach is really a beach lifestyle mixed use destination. It's part resort, it's part attraction, it's part hospitality, hotel, etc. It's part residences, beach homes.
Nice.
So it's a 77-acre, $350 million development project, and it's gonna be sweet. It's gonna be nice.
That's a lot of money to invest in West Alabama.
It is. It's and that's, I'm sure, been a topic of conversation. I think it's probably arguably, certainly one of the largest in Tuscaloosa area,
Yeah.
and maybe the state outside of university related
Mhm.
things or big hospital projects of
Yep.
recently. But as far as the mixed use development goes, it certainly is. It's up there, but there's a lot going on in the development world and the industry that is bringing these various components together to create destinations, but also destination living, right? So it's creating a kind of a environment where people can have kind of live, work, play,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
you will.
Mhm.
But the water technology that really makes it possible to do these very large bodies of water, you're talking, we're talking 10 acres at University Beach, and that's right now there's a 10-acre one in Florida, but it's all mostly residential, and there's a 12-acre one in Texas, again residential, mostly community. So this one's one of the first that's really purposely designed where to have all those components and have them all sort of work holistically together. I think it's going to be a massive tourism generator
Oh, yeah,
for the
absolutely.
area, and be able to attract convention type business that wasn't able to come before.
And we definitely need that in this
Yeah.
area.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, but the technology, like I said, has really come a long way, especially even in the last 5 years, where you're seeing a lot of this big body of water. There was an article a couple of weeks ago, came out in the Wall Street Journal. It was a feature story in their real estate section. It's like, the headline story. And it was all about, these big bodies of water and big development projects. And actually the cover story for last month's Water Park Association magazine was about a developer out of Florida that's doing residential communities with these big bodies of water to sell homes, right? So it's not an unproven technology. It's certainly a newer technology, but it's something that we're really excited about in terms of leveraging that. I mean, the beach is the #1 tourist destination in the world.
Yeah.
And beachfront property is some of the highest value property in the world.
Yeah.
You combine those two things with a technology that allows you to put that here in this area, and then so you got something pretty special. So.
On the technology you're referring to, is that like just keeping it clean, or just the construction of it, or
It's both.
A little bit of both?
It's a little bit of both. So
I know people are going to say, "Oh, yeah, 10-acre water is going to be nasty all the time," and all the naysayers.
No, the technology that is out there now in these large bodies of water, it's amazing what they can do with that water quality and the clarity. So, and we wouldn't get into a project like that where we felt uncomfortable or felt unsure about safety for the public. It's just not. It's going to be continually monitored through technology, both the quality of the water and the flow of the water and stagnant areas, and, all that kind of stuff. And in fact, that's all modeled in advance, the way computers are these days. But yeah, it's both the construction process, the materials that are involved, which is more of a liner-based material, and then the filtration technology itself is all just in the last, like I said, in 10 years, has just come about to make these things possible.
Pretty cool.
How deep is something like that? I know it varies probably throughout it, but
Yeah, it varies, and our philosophy and approach has been specifically on University Beach that we want. Again, this is 10 acres of water. It's a lot of water. Okay, but what most people do actually is what they kind of do at the beach is they go in about chest deep or waist deep, and they just kind of go out there and they socialize, right? So that's really what this is mostly about. There will be, so we're talking to probably a good portion, 80% of it, maybe even more than that, is going to be more chest high or less, because there's going to be a lot of zero entry. There is sand. There are beaches. You're going to feel like that you've gotten in a plane and flown to some Caribbean exotic location, and that's the vibe you're going to have, right? So, but as far as the water goes, there will be some areas where we actually plan on having a rock jump off of a rock and let people do that, right? And then we also plan on having a floating obstacle course, which we think will be a lot of fun for both adults and kids. And in those areas, we'll need closer to 10 feet or so for safety reasons and things like that. Cool. But for the most part, it's going to be walkable for the average adult, right? And so really from that standpoint, our capacity is going to be really big.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You want to give us a brief kind of overview of little quick snippets of all the different stuff that's going to be included, then we kind of circle back and go more in depth?
Absolutely. So, I mean, the focal point obviously is the water, right?
Yeah.
So we're talking about, beach components all the way around, but we've got various user groups that are going to be involved in that. And so we have, what we're calling the beach club, which is more of the attraction area, right? So the beach club really consists of, obviously, multiple dining components, but it's got live entertainment venue, so they have outdoor entertainment. We'll book, national acts and other touring acts, as well as regional and other bands in there. And we'll have some indoor pickleball. Cool. So we'll have other sort of activities, a sports bar, about, I think, 10,000 square foot sports bar, a surfing experience. So people can, learn to surf, and we'll even have exhibitions and competitions for surfing.
Nice.
We'll have a whole entire lazy river family-friendly, water park component, lazy river thrill slides, entire children's interactive playground, splash pad type of concept, and all this will be accessible. We'll have they make some really neat, water wheelchairs and other for people with disabilities to be able to get actually onto the beach and some of these water features and stuff like that, which is a big deal.
Yeah, sure.
Absolutely.
So we want to be all inclusive in that regard, and so all ages, all abilities, et cetera. And then there's a resort component, which is the hotel.
Okay.
The hotel, also attached to that, there's a event facility. which will be really unique and special because it will also have an event island that will be just out from that event facility. And so that island could be rentable for weddings or social events or whatever, or private parties and things like that.
Very cool.
Either with or separate from the event center, so it has its own flexibility. And then there's a 64 three-story townhomes that'll be part of a residential community. They'll have their own private beach, some of their own private amenities and private bar and grill that'll be on that side for the residential area and multifamily as well. And then there's a boardwalk and dining component, which is open to the public, and they could come out there and sit, waterfront dining and
that's cool.
Get whatever treats and some shopping and stuff like that. So that's the main focal areas. There is some other areas as you come in off the main drive there, off McFarland. There'll be some outlying retail and stuff on a main boulevard, but it'll be really nice. It'll be really nice.
Very cool.
I mean, if you can't get excited about that, and we'll put the pictures up also, the renderings.
Yeah,
it's impressive. I mean, it is nothing that we've ever seen around here. So.
No, for sure. And it's, like I said, it's pretty special in terms of not really anything else quite like it out there.
It really looks like something you'd see at Disney World or somewhere like that. We go to Disney all the time, and looking at the rendering, that's something you would go see. And I know a lot of families around here haven't been to Disney or don't have the means to go somewhere. So if you have it in your backyard,
we've found that again, staycation and things the way that it is, and a lot of families just don't either have the time
or even like on the weekend just to go hang out at the boardwalk.
Exactly.
Let the kids go play or whatever.
That's right.
Without spending thousands of dollars to travel and hotel and everything.
In Northport with a new sports complex, I mean, if you got travel teams that's coming in, they got a great place to stay with kids and just keep them entertained.
Yeah, I was involved.
And keep the parents entertained.
Yeah, I was involved with a sports complex, as you probably know, in Texas, and this was a top 10 rated, sports facility, mostly travel ball, and that was one of the things that we tried for years was to get some other type of water element as to be affiliated with that, because the moms and particularly the kids during the downtime. We're looking for something else to do, to have something literally right there that they could go do, and get them to either come in a day early or to stay a day later, on those travel
spend
ball
more
weekends.
Money. You can only hang out at Walmart so long.
That's right.
You get tired of it.
Walmart or Chick-fil-A.
Yeah.
That's true. And Sunday, you can't even hang out at Chick-fil-A. I mean, you can. It's just weird. It's weird. Yeah. It's not as fun.
What you think, Garrison Brothers?
You a fan?
It's different.
Is it the Texas heat that makes it age? I mean, that's a 3-year.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty dark colored.
That's pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That heat's got a.
It may be. It may be the Texas heat.
It's good stuff.
It is good.
Yeah.
So how much of this will be open, like, for free public? I mean, obviously, there's some aspects you have to pay, water park rides and different things. But you said, like, the boardwalk.
Yeah, the boardwalk retail restaurants area will be open to the public, absolutely. And pickleball be basically, you can spectate all you want, and just if you want to play, then there'll be a fee to play or to get a court or whatever. The beach club water park component of it, yes, there is an admission gate component. But once you're in, the lazy rivers, the slides, it's all that. Everything's just like a normal, would be at a normal water park. Cool. So you're not paying for those those amenities.
I got you.
The only things that would be, and I failed to mention earlier, water activities like paddle boarding and kayaking and things like that. So those would likely, there would be an upcharge for those activities, and they're time-based. The obstacle course, the surfing component, things like that, particularly where there's a time element involved in that, and you're not just in and out or at your will, right? Yeah. So those components, but yeah, the come down there and people watch and the boardwalk and the shopping and the dining and all that kind of stuff, it's open to everybody.
Which I think is fantastic because you don't have to spend money to go check it out and look at it. It's not like behind a gate.
Right.
You want to pay extra, you can do the extra stuff, or you can go eat at a restaurant.
That's
hang
right.
out at the boardwalk.
Yeah.
Have some
Yeah.
ice cream, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. That is the exact idea of it.
Gotcha.
And you have a pretty major university, not far away.
Yeah, there's a little one. Yeah.
That probably helps. Help on that.
College kids for
Could
sure.
you imagine? I mean, you saw Pop Stroke, how
Yeah.
busy it was
Yeah, we
today.
drove by today. It was packed.
Yeah.
Was it really?
It's always
Yeah.
packed,
Yeah. Yeah.
especially
When the
weather
weather's
gets-
nice,
The
yeah.
weather gets better.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
I've
yeah.
seen people out there playing in the rain.
I have to.
That's pretty
Yeah.
hardcore.
Well, they're killing it as a concept.
Yeah.
They're doing real well. We've looked at them and others like that. So and we may end up with something out at University Beach. We'll see.
Yep. That's awesome.
You want to break down some of the slides and lazy river aspect of it? I know that's a big draw for it.
Yeah, I think. I mean, we're still a little early. We've got some things that we're gonna tweak as we get a little bit deeper into it. But I mean, from a lazy river perspective, again, think more. Resort. We're making it. 1,400, 1,500 linear feet. That's a long. That's a long ride. There'll be multiple points of getting in and out. There'll be waterside cabanas and other lounge seating and things like that.
Any alcoholic beverages?
There will be some alcoholic beverages. There will be wait service if that's your thing.
I like that.
Right.
Nice.
So yeah, there will be wait service. There will be cocktails, chef-inspired cuisine. It's not going to be just your typical burger, hot dog.
So it's going to be the full range from.
It's going to be the full range, and we're going to have kind of a little bit more of a upscale. I hesitate to say adult area, but we're going to have a little bit more of an area that is probably more attractive to adults. It's going to be a little bit more relaxed and chill environment, and it's going to be obviously the menu items and things that will be coming out of that area are going to be a little bit different from those that are in more of the family zone, right? So, but again, and not to say that we wouldn't have hot dogs and hamburgers, and those are great things. And kids especially love those, and they're easy when you're in a water park like that. But the point being is that people are looking for a little bit more these days in terms of what food is offered, and particularly healthy items and things like that. So we're gonna have a lot of those things, and we're with multiple restaurants and stuff on site. We'll be able to do a lot of really interesting, unique things, the way we allow people to get food, and how they're going to get food, and options for eating and stuff like that.
What kind of time frame does something like this to build? Because I mean, I know it's
my
not
damn
a
question.
Oh, my bad. Take that out. Go ahead.
Right, construction was my next question.
I saw you wrote it, so I just went ahead and jumped on
Right
it.
there, you go.
Is that a 2 year, 3 year?
I think that obviously, we're gonna churn and burn and stuff, but I think that we're probably looking at a couple of years at least, and ideally, if we could get the water component up and running, some of the other things may be coming, a little bit behind that or whatever, but we're looking at probably a couple of years on that. So.
You say like the beach club, water slides.
Yeah, the beach club component. The priority is the big 10 acres of water, right? Because that's really
centerpiece.
Not only just that, from a construction's timing way that you do that, you've got to get that in there first, right? And so once you kind of get that in and framed in, for lack of a better term, then you can kind of start working your way out, because it is the centerpiece. Yeah. And we know that the beach club water park component is an important component, and it also helps generate activity, right, which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And so we want to get that, that's first on the list.
Yeah.
Right. Let me put it that way. That's first on the list, and then the residents and stuff will be right there with it, and then a little more complicated. Yeah, restaurants. A little bit more complicated things like hotel stuff will follow. So,
how big of a hotel?
We're talking 130 key boutique. We're talking pretty nice.
Yep.
Nice hotel, nice fitness facilities, nice infinity edge pool, looking out over the 10 acres of water. Again, hotel guests, private beach.
Game day shuttles to the game, probably.
Game day shuttles, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, if students, and these students, a lot of these students have endless pockets. I mean, is there like a bus that's going to be going back and forth to school, like some of the big apartment complexes?
Yeah, it's certainly something we've discussed. I don't hesitate because we haven't worked out the logistics of it yet. But yes, we have already talked about.
If it made sense, you'd
absolutely. Yeah,
Matt probably put his daughter there.
Yeah, I would say more.
Hopefully, she's out of school by then.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
We would definitely look to have a shuttle, and certainly would, if it makes sense, do that.
And the residential side, how many townhomes you said?
64 townhomes right now.
Any houses are off the beach?
I think that there is a plan in another discussion to be had for what might be coming behind that. Yeah. But not within the University Beach, 77 acres. Perfect. We're done. We're tapped for land.
I'm sure.
We've programmed the entire thing, and there's just no opportunity for that.
Has the city of Northport been helpful? And
they've been fantastic to work with. As I'm sure it's no secret that this idea really started from an idea of a water park that was approved to be done. And that was only going to be on about 11 acres of land up on the frontage there.
Yeah.
And so what that concept, which from a concept standpoint of providing something for the citizens to have to do and quality of life and so forth and so on, but this we cranked up the volume to 11 on this concept, and absolutely, I think it takes it to a whole other level. Like I said.
I think it adds a lot of value for this area. I mean, West Alabama, Alabama in general.
In our market research that we've done, which we've done pretty extensively, when you're dealing with a project of this magnitude, we see this thing drawing from Nashville, Atlanta, other areas. Certainly the areas more inland, obviously that are used to maybe traveling down through to get down to the coast, right? So if we can stop them on their way, or divert them, or give them an option, then I think that's going to be a big draw.
I mean, down at the beach, you see so many people from Indiana and Kentucky and all that travel all the way down there.
Exactly. And I'm not knocking the beach, but there's been, particularly in Texas, there's been so many issues with the water quality there, bacteria, et cetera, that. For a lot of people,
undertow waves.
Undertow, just wildlife, whatever, right? Seaweed, things like that. It's just becoming a little bit less of an attractive experience. Again, I love going to the beach, but it has its challenges, right? You're lugging all your stuff around, and you're looking.
Hopefully, we don't have to worry about hurricanes here. And all that fun stuff.
Exactly. So we'll take some of that stuff out of the equation.
I like it.
Yeah.
And how's weather-wise? Since we have cold and super hot,
it doesn't really. The water's not gonna freeze or anything. So
is it gonna be heated?
No, it's not going to be heated per se. There will be some pool areas that will be heated. It's just such a massive body of water.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even imagine how we would.
And with it being that shallow, it's probably going to stay fairly warm.
Just
because it's.
Yeah, correct. It will.
Yeah.
But like I said, we've programmed it to be really used year round. So even if you're not in the water, we will be able to have.
Stuff.
Well, like as an example, you've seen probably the little sunfish sailboats, right? That are for learners or for kids, right? So we could actually have little regattas. So we could do regattas and things like that. We could do, polar bear club swimming contest or whatever, you know what I mean? And we can obviously with stand-up paddleboards and kayaks. There's other activities that you could do. And then the surfing component. I mean, surfers are used to being cold,
right?
So wetsuits and things like that. But so and then obviously and then concerts and things where you're not getting in the water, but
just the atmosphere,
the atmosphere itself, and then we plan on having holiday-driven activities and things as well. So during those months, we may have times where we just sort of open it up, and we've got say like a lighted boat parade that's out on the water, just as something for people to come watch at night, just like you would go do, a tree parade or something, right? But we may have our version of the tree parade out on the water. Cool. So, So those types of things would be community-driven events, which is always important. And we didn't touch upon school groups and activities and team building activities, and I mean there's just a plethora of things that you can do out there that I think that the community will really benefit from and embrace.
Absolutely.
So,
and it will have the chemical, so if you urinate in it, it will show up.
It turns blue.
Okay,
yeah, it would just.
That's smart.
Yeah, that's right.
It's gonna be blue all year.
Only at the swim up bar.
Yeah.
Ooh. I was in a swim up bar in Mexico, and I don't think I left the bar for 8 hours. So you figure that.
Yeah, you do the math.
Do the math on that one.
So how did you get into this?
Well,
I mean, I know your background, but tell a little bit about your background.
My background is really entertainment.
Yeah.
Started out in the music business on the music side, and that evolved ended up.
And that doesn't sound as impressive as it is. I mean, explain like where you worked and what you did, because I mean it's impressive.
All right.
And I'm a music guy.
Okay. Well, I started out working at Warner Music International in New York, which was really my first job. And what that means is basically that it's an international division of Warner, which is one of the major record distributors. And so they dealt with artists that were signed over in other countries, but they were releasing records in the United States. And those artists were people like Ringo Starr and Phil Collins and Donna Summer and other people. And so there would be some interaction with those artists or whatever. So the role there was to really help facilitate their relationship with the U.S.-based labels that were distributing their product, and also help find other new talent that was international talent. So that was the role that I was in there. And then I got into producing some of the first internet websites, actually, with a company called New York Web, and we actually were involved in wiring one of the first buildings in Manhattan, 11 Broadway. This was a time when Wall Street was vacant. There was nobody down there, and we ended up, me and a couple of other partners at the time, convinced an owner of that building. His building was completely vacant. It was like 14-story building right down there by the famous bull, that you've seen in movies and stuff. And we convinced him, hey, there's this thing called the internet, and you might want to get on it, and we can wire your building for high speed. One of the partners was the consultant for AT&T, who was literally designing the internet infrastructure for the city of Manhattan for AT&T. Okay, so it wasn't like just a couple of guys in our garage, although we were a couple of guys in our garage, because this is back in the early 90s, right? And so early to mid.
And high-speed internet back then wasn't.
High-speed, it was nothing. I remember the very first time. I mean, we had internet at our offices, but it was only used for email, right? Mm-hmm. And I remember this guy that I'm talking about, his name's Chris Graham. He was a DJ and at night, and that's how I ended up meeting him. Being a music guy, and Warner, I had carte blanche access to any club in the city, so I'd go to lots of clubs, and part of my job was looking for bands, right? So I'd like to go see bands. Anyway, saw this guy, DJ, we end up talking, and he ends up inviting me to a party that was going to happen like a week later at his house. And I show up at his place, which was down in Soho, and there's Wesley Snipes is there. You may not know who Beverly Pill is, but she was a big-time supermodel back in that time, probably pre-Naomi Campbell, but like Naomi Campbell. And all these other celebrities and stuff. And the whole party, they're like, he's DJing over here, but the entire party is like over here. Everybody's crowded around this table. And I'm like, what's everybody looking at, right? So I go over there, and he's got this Mac sitting there, and everybody is basically surfing the internet. and he had his own high-speed connection at his
Serious.
house, right? Everybody else is doing the old dial-up AOL thing, and he's, just going to town on Netscape or whatever it was, I think at the time, right? And so anyway, it was blowing people's minds, and so I said, we ended up talking, and I said, hey, look, my music background and your internet background and a couple other guys that were there or whatever, let's get together and do something, And this was pre anybody doing anything on the internet, so we end up. Like I said, we ended up talking to this guy in a wireless building. He gives us he's like, pick your whatever floor you want. And we're talking about 10,000 square foot floor plates of this building in downtown Manhattan, Wall Street area of Manhattan. So we wire the building, get this office space, and there's like 6 of us in 10,000 square. We're throwing footballs. And this is where all these big brokers used to, bullpens, and it was crazy too, because it was literally like they just went home one day and didn't come back the next.
Really?
I mean, the desks were there. It was just like stuff written on the, like trades and all this kind of stuff or whatever. It was surreal. And literally out the window of the office I picked, like I could see the Statue of Liberty and the harbor, and it was crazy.
Yeah,
like it was crazy. And anyway, so we ended up working and putting together literally the first websites of what ended up like for a lot of the major. I think we had all the major labels, and doing some of the very first artist websites, but also mostly the other team worked on some of the very first transaction websites. Godiva Chocolates, 1-800-Flowers. These were all like the early transaction type stuff on the internet. And we're over here trying to do this music stuff, and one thing leads to another, and we end up getting some streaming servers sent to us that were a company called Zing. It was the very first video streaming server that was out there, and at least that I'm aware of. And this was before Broadcast.com and Mark Cuban, and I mean, he was just starting to do his thing or whatever. And which a couple of years later, we ended up like on a panel and all that stuff together, and he obviously made some better decisions than I did in life, because he but anyway, so that's sort of, we did some of arguably the very first live webcasting of shows, and our sort of claim to fame, at least for a while there, was we did Hootie and the Blowfish live from Red Rocks at their height of their fame.
Yeah.
And it was the first satellite uplink webcast, which was a feat, because we had to figure out how to get the signal out of Red Rocks, which didn't have any internet connection.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, it was crazy. So we had to get a satellite truck and beam it to New York and out from our offices. And I think 3 people watched it. It was pretty cool.
Like our podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was the early Boozy Spirits.
There you go.
That's right. Anyway, then one thing led to another. I worked on a TV show called Hard Rock Live while we were in that company. Microsoft came in, and they got involved and sponsored us and did some stuff. And we ended up had some relationships at Warner Brothers. They were producing a new weekly live music show on VH1, for those that remember what VH1 was.
Yeah.
And we did that, and then that led to ultimately Hard Rock Cafe corporately hiring me to come over, and I went to work for Hard Rock and did some big festivals and some other stuff there with those guys. And then that led to me working, moving, and actually I moved from New York to LA to Orlando in about a 3-year span of time. And because Hard Rock, when they first hired me, I was in LA, and then they decided to close that office, and they moved me. That's when I was involved with the opening of City Walk live venue out there at City Walk at the time. So anyway, and then my wife and I started having family, and we're from Texas, so both sides of the family were like, hey, y'all need to move back, you need to move back, whatever. And then so I started looking for what might be opportunity there, and a company called SMG, which was at the time largest facility management company in the world, 230 some odd venues, and like the O2 in London, and Superdome and Reliant and all that stuff. And so anyway, I went to work for them, and for probably the better part of 12 years, I was a general manager of one of their entertainment complexes that had 18,000 seat amphitheater and a 9,000 seat arena and ball fields and convention center, all that stuff, and was their Texas director of live entertainment. So I was overseeing, helping all the other buildings in the state of Texas do all their programming for entertainment.
You've seen a few artists?
I've seen a couple of shows. Yeah, a few shows. But not just that, but I mean, Monster Truck, Cirque du Soleil, hockey, whatever.
It's
right?
entertainment.
Entertainment, yeah. And I was also involved with Baylor University's opening of their stadium, the new football stadium, McLean Stadium, which is not y'all's stadium. It's probably half of what y'all's stadium.
But it's nice.
But it's very nice. It's a very nice stadium. Yeah, and they do have water tailgating. They've got the Brazos River. You can pull your boat right up there and tailgate on your boat, which is
pretty
kind of cool.
That's cool.
Y'all just need to figure out a way to pull the Black Warrior River up a little closer to the stadium. There you go.
Sounds like chaos.
So that's kind of my story. How did I get to this? While I was with SMG, and I mentioned earlier, we're trying to figure out a water solution for this entertainment complex and these ball fields. A developer that I was talking to brought up to me that he had traveled to some other parts of the world and come across this technology that allowed these big bodies of water to happen. So I did what everybody does. I got on the internet and looked it up and went, wow, this is pretty cool. But it wasn't happening in the U.S. yet.
Right.
And so I thought, wow, if you could do that and then kind of take my background of entertainment and these things and combine these things all together, could have a pretty cool place, right? With restaurants and live venues and other things, right? And so that's how, so 2017, I struck out on my own, and we went after this market, and we've been involved in a lot of projects from California to Florida and stuff like that. So yeah, that's how.
So it's still a pretty new technology, or
it's a new concept. I mean, the technologies, like I said, have probably been around for about 10 years, but they, as all technology does, I mean, it just exponentially gets better and better and better. The more people that are paying attention to it, the more companies that come into the market and innovate, the better it gets, right? So especially just in the last couple of years, it's really taken a big leap, particularly even on the surf side, like surf pools and things like that are happening.
Yeah.
The way that they're creating 7 and 8 foot waves and stuff these days are
crazy,
and they can do barrels and left and right, and it's crazy what they're doing. So, really cool. But
maybe your next project you could do that for.
Maybe so. Yeah.
I would love to learn to surf.
You can do it.
Yeah,
you got the look.
What the hell does that mean?
You look like a fucking bum.
You look like a surf bum.
Thank you. I've been called worse.
Well, I think that is going to be something that you do see. Not to get off on that tangent, but yeah, I agree. I mean, I think surf went into the Olympics a couple of years ago. And I think you're going to see the inland stuff. I mean, there's the one in Waco, which I've been to a few times, and we were involved in a project out in California. It's impressive. And it's certainly, it may not, the purist are going to say, well, it's not the ocean. And they're right. It's not the ocean, right? But I think that you're going to see an evolution of the sport it's not only inclusive, it's just more attainable. I mean, some guy in Kansas could be the next, surf champion, or whatever, but he's never, you know what I mean?
So like none of us are going to go out in the ocean and get a 10-foot wave because
and you know how many people do?
Yeah, freaking
this many.
But if you can go to a surf place and you can do it safely.
Yeah, and consistently. Yeah. You can get a 10-foot wave every single wave you get, or you can or whatever size you wave.
And you can come in and drink at the bar.
There you go.
You don't have any sharks.
No sharks.
No
jellyfish.
That's right.
It's pretty cool.
No Keanu Reeves.
Right.
That was a very cool background.
Yeah, thanks. It's been a journey.
I bet.
as seems like most have, right?
It is. We all kind of evolve.
Yeah, I think that's the
change.
point. You got to evolve and you got to change and you got to keep learning too.
Yeah.
I'm learning every day, and there's new things out there.
And as your life situation changes,
Yeah.
you went back to Texas because of family.
That's right.
I mean, it created a different,
Yeah,
opportunity
absolutely.
for you.
Yeah,
You remember, since you're connected with all that, you remember MindSpring?
yeah.
I still got my MindSpring email.
Do you really?
Yeah, Grumble at MindSpring.
Are they still? They're still around.
Yeah, they still charge me every month. Now it's Earthlink, but I kept it. I had it since '97, I think.
Oh, wow.
And everybody knows that email, so I've just kept it.
Yeah.
Like I have a Gmail for work and stuff, but I just kept that one. And somebody the other day was like, "MindSpring, that's old. How long you had that thing?"
Yeah. One of the things I kind of still kick myself is back in, I'd say probably 95 or so, I got johnhughes.com and then just like let it go. I just like, whatever.
Yeah.
And to this day, I'm like, man, why didn't I just keep that?
Exactly.
So,
Pretty big director named John Hughes, right?
yeah, that's what I was thinking. I could probably blackmail him or
what-
something with it.
You messed up my
Sell
question
it to
again.
him.
Nah, go
I was
ahead.
fixing to ask him how it was on the set of Home Alone. You done messed that segue up. Been saving that one all podcast.
This is still Austin right here. I'm a huge fan.
Are you?
Yeah.
It's
And
really good.
you're not going to drink out of the Still Austin cup there?
Should have.
Glass?
And
Those are cool looking.
they are very cool.
Thicker too.
I'd like to give a shout out to Still Austin.
Mm-hmm.
They liked
So-
our post before.
They did.
I did a little review and they liked it.
And
What's on-
commented.
You had that one in here.
They should. Yeah, they're a cool
Yeah, that one
company.
up there, the regulars.
Oh yeah,
The musician.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's it. Yep, yep. Just I'm sure you know that they're all grain. Not sourced. I shouldn't say sourced, but they have their own grain.
Really?
It's all Texas
Okay.
grown, and I think, and you can fact check me on this, but I think that they were the first distillery in Austin since Prohibition.
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
So, and they've won double gold in all their bourbons. So
It is great bourbon.
It is good.
is.
Yeah.
Should let them try some Bama Shines for
I think it's the number one selling in Texas right now.
Really?
It's good.
I like to hear that.
Grab that chard. Let them try that one.
Are you ready for some moonshine?
Sure.
This is from Bowlage, Alabama.
Okay.
Our buddy Bobby makes it.
Your buddy Bobby?
Yeah. Bobby. It's not Mr. Bobby. I got in trouble. It's Bobby.
Oh, it's not Mr. Bobby.
It's just Bobby.
Is his last name Boucher?
It's not. It is. Oh,
It's
remember what
not.
his last
It
name?
would have been better if it was.
It could be.
Here, somebody with fingernails is gonna.
So he makes this in Bowlage. It's about an hour south of here.
Okay.
Middle of nowhere on the river. We went and toured it the other day. Very cool.
Super Bowl Sunday.
Super Bowl Sunday
Yeah.
it was.
Oh, wow.
So this is carbon filtered and aged in bourbon barrels from Dread River.
It's impressive.
I'll let you pour your own.
Thank you.
It is fantastic.
So you think maybe at University Beach we can get like a distillery or a brewery or something?
I think there's probably a good possibility that something like that.
I would like to see something like that come to
something like that could
Northport.
happen. Yeah. I was sitting there thinking because I've got a buddy of mine that does a lot of the food service stuff at Reliant, and more in the specialty kind of novelty stuff or whatever. But they do some alcoholic beverages. And one of the things that they started doing this past season, more towards the end of the season, I think, was there's a gelato, gelato Italian ice product or whatever. And there's a local moonshine. I think it's out of Sugarland, maybe even called Sugarland.
Sugar. Yeah.
All right. So they did a deal and they started putting some of this moonshine in some of this gelato, Italian ice stuff or whatever, and they sell these things. I think they're about $30 something a pop, right? And the first game that they did, I think they thought that they would sell 400 or something like that. You know, it's kind of a niche deal, and it's whatever. They did 1,000.
Wow.
1,000 of them. That's cool. You know, so, but yeah, they said that the you couldn't even really. The flavor was just it fit right in, and
Really?
and, it was just almost like you couldn't even taste it. You know.
That's what's cool about this moonshine. It doesn't taste like moonshine. Like I've tried Sugarlands, and it's like comparing Still Austin to Evan Williams or some bottom shelf. Like,
Right.
we'll see what you think about it. Obviously, we're big fans of it, but
We are.
Oh, I like that.
It doesn't have your moonshine.
Yeah, I like that.
It doesn't
I like
have
that.
ethanol or whatever taste.
Alcohol-y.
Yeah.
That's what Bobby says.
Yeah, it's not alcohol. That's
Yeah.
a good way to describe it.
Even the clear doesn't have that alcohol-y taste.
Right. Right.
But the charred, for both of us,
It's good.
that's kind of our go-to.
Yeah. No, I like that.
It's good stuff.
And as far as mixing it with drinks, I mean, you can use that clear for
Anything.
to take the place of vodka, rum,
Right.
For sure.
tequila.
Everything.
Everything. Italian ice.
Yeah. Probably be amazing.
It probably would be.
So, as an outsider from Texas, what do you think about the Tuscaloosa area, Northport area?
I love it, man. I as you know, I've been really only coming here for about a year now, right? And before that, I'd never really been through here.
Right.
And I've traveled quite a bit, but never really. I think I've been through this area, but not stopped.
Right.
But man, once you get out, some of the scenic areas and things to do, and a lot of outdoor stuff. I mean, it reminds me a lot of East Texas, particularly up in the Piney Woods area and stuff like that. It has more of a little bit more terrain than East Texas has.
We got a drink at my restaurant called East Texas.
You do?
That's a Miller Lite and a shot of tequila.
Do you grow a mullet when you have it, or what happens? Yeah.
But the little backstory about it, not to intervene with your story, but it's out of Whiskey Myers.
Yeah.
They had the Lonely East Texas Nights. I was listening to that, making a menu. I'm like, I love this band. I was like, well, name it East Texas. I'm pretty sure, because I saw them in concert. They were all drinking Miller Lite.
Yeah.
I'm like, Miller Lite, tequila. There you go.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's been a hit.
That's a band we've had at some of my venues before.
Awesome. I
So,
love them.
Yeah, those are
They're one of my
good.
favorite bands.
Yeah.
Great guys.
You get them on the show for us.
Yeah, Miller Lite in East Texas, it actually it really is neck and neck with Bud. I mean, which is kind of rare.
Yeah.
In most areas Bud dominates, but not in East Texas.
Really?
True.
Yeah, it's more of a Miller Lite deal.
I guess that's why they drink it.
I guess so.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Do you see the people kind of like Southeast Texas as far as?
In a lot of ways, I think it might be a little bit more progressive in some areas.
Yeah.
And obviously, maybe that's just kind of a spillover from the university.
Right.
So obviously that helps, university town, and then you got a lot of people that converge obviously on game day and stuff like that. So you get there's a lot more. Again, there's some great food here. I mean, there really is some good places to go eat, and good barbecue and other things. I mean, the one thing I don't know that y'all have quite nailed yet is Tex-Mex, but
We had Chewy's here for a while, but people didn't like it.
really,
Yeah, they don't.
You been to jalapenos yet?
I have, but I don't know that I'd call that Tex-Mex.
It's not Tex.
It's good food.
It's not Tex-Mex.
Yeah, no,
but
it's good
a little
food.
mix
Yeah,
of little mix of everything.
Yeah, no, I like the food, but it's not Tex-Mex.
So, did you get to experience a football game this year?
I went to the Bama Texas game.
Oh, that's. I mean, a good one.
Sorry.
Did you hang out with Matthew McConaughey?
Yeah, maybe that's why they won. I don't know. Who knows?
Who were you cheering for?
Believe it or not, I was cheering for Bama.
Okay.
Yeah, I was cheering for Bama.
I like to hear
we
that.
got some family members that are big Bama fans, and so we were, I guess I was going to win either way.
That's
right?
true.
So
I think they won because Matthew was here. McConaughey.
You think?
Yeah. Unofficial mascot.
I think he was at the other game they lost too, though.
I think he's pretty much at every game. Yeah.
He is at every game.
Pretty much at every game.
Here goes my theory.
Yeah.
But in Tuscaloosa, he did win.
Yeah.
It's true.
And we got Texas and Oklahoma coming in this year, so that's going to be great for the Southeast, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Doesn't
And
make
for
sense.
University Beach.
Doesn't make sense, but
I think it does.
Oklahoma's like in the middle of USA.
So is Missouri.
I know that don't make sense either.
Yeah, but look who the Big 12's getting. I mean,
Yeah.
BYU.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But,
Just grabbing whoever they can.
yeah. So
That's true. Well, we can wrap it up and start drinking.
there you go.
Anything you want to add? not?
Go get your swim trunks ready.
There you go.
I like to hear that. We are excited for University Beach,
Awesome.
and I think a lot of people are. So
I hope so. I think it's going to be
very cool looking
something
project.
that the community is going to be real proud of.
Absolutely.
Yeah.